Scientific research is a highly systematic process designed to extract the uniform laws that govern an unpredictable universe. Behavioral scientist Fred Kerlinger defined this process as a controlled, empirical, and critical investigation. It is a method of testing presumed relations between natural phenomena while stripping away subjective assumptions. This investigation relies on isolating cause and effect. The researcher manipulates an independent variable to precisely measure its impact on a dependent variable. However, unpredictable extraneous variables can disrupt this direct pathway. Without control, it's impossible to determine if the cause actually produced the effect. In disciplines like physics or chemistry, researchers can physically isolate their work in a laboratory. By removing these extraneous variables, they keep the environment pristine for measurement. The challenge shifts when the subject is human society, an environment where factors are intangible, ever-changing, and too vast for a single researcher to physically isolate. To manage this complexity, scientists operate along a spectrum of control. At the peak sits the laboratory experiment, where an artificial environment is constructed specifically to block out extraneous variables. This environment is the domain of quantitative research, which follows a deductive, top-down approach. It connects mathematical models and theories to specific observations, testing a hypothesis against established records. Moving down the spectrum, a field experiment takes the study out of the lab. While the researcher still manipulates the independent variable, they do so within a natural, uncontrolled setting. By operating in a natural environment, researchers can observe complex social influences that a sterile lab might obscure. However, because the setting is real and unpredictable, replicating the results is difficult. Without the total isolation of a lab, the study is vulnerable to experimental bias and the influence of uncontrollable extraneous variables. As investigators move into the real world, they trade the absolute certainty of the laboratory for the practical validity of a natural situation. At the furthest end of the spectrum are field studies and naturalistic observation. Here, the experimenter manipulates nothing, choosing instead to record phenomena exactly as they occur. In these settings, the social scientist's laboratory is often too large to provide a grip on all factors. Because the subjects are non-quantifiable and complex, the researcher must pivot from quantitative measurement to qualitative interpretation. Qualitative methods focus on observing people through in-depth interviews and focus groups. This includes ethnography, which describes a group's culture, and phenomenology, which seeks to understand an individual's specific experience. These viewpoints use specific frameworks. An Emic account provides the insider's perspective, describing behavior from within their own culture. In contrast, an Etic account is a description by an outside observer, attempting to be culturally neutral across different societies. Qualitative research functions as a formal framework for extracting empirical data from these subjective human experiences. When a researcher has no control over a chaotic environment, testing a top-down hypothesis is often impossible. The solution is grounded theory, an inductive bottom-up approach where theories are generated directly from observed data. Researchers also use ex post facto research to study past events, beginning with a visible effect and tracing it backward to its probable cause. These observational relationships underpin prognostic research in clinical psychology. By identifying predictors in a population, clinicians can determine the path a disease will follow and target it for early detection. From the sterile control of a laboratory to the inductive analysis of the field, these methodologies provide a systematic way to verify facts and define the laws governing the phenomena around us.